My name is Antonia Brooks. I am 71 years old, and the day my world fell apart was the day my daughter called me from somewhere far away, her voice cold and sharp as she said, "Mom, we're going to Europe tomorrow. I already sold your beach house and your car. We needed the money. Bye." And then hung up, ending 45 years of love, sacrifice, and motherhood in one cruel breath. But instead of crying, I felt an unfamiliar calm, because she didn't know what secret her father had left behind. 6 months earlier, my husband Robert had died suddenly during breakfast, his last words a soft, "Good morning, my love." After his death, Angela visited frequently, pretending to care, making me sign papers, telling me to see doctors, all while planning something I never imagined. That afternoon, I remembered the manila envelope Robert had handed me 3 days before he died, telling me to open it only when I was ready. When I returned home, I opened the drawer and pulled out the envelope. Inside were property deeds, bank papers, and a long letter in Robert's familiar handwriting. He had invested our savings in silence, not just the beach house, but 7 properties, including the very building Angela lived in, plus shares in companies I had never heard of. I wasn't poor. I was wealthy beyond anything I ever imagined, and Robert had kept it hidden so Angela would love us for who we were, not what we had. The next morning, Angela called again with fake sweetness, telling me she had given me 30% of the money from selling my own assets and promising to help me find a small apartment when she returned. I let her believe she had won. But I called Robert's old lawyer, Mr. Peterson, and revealed everything. He confirmed Angela's sale was illegal and that everything was mine. I told him I didn't want a lawsuit. I wanted silence. Over the next weeks, he quietly returned the beach house to my name, transferred all properties directly to me, and even tracked down Robert's pickup truck, convincing the buyer to return it. Meanwhile, in public, I remained the poor abandoned widow, while privately I became the woman who controlled everything. Then the collapse began. Edward, my son-in-law, had taken huge loans using the apartment as collateral. When the bank discovered he wasn't the owner, the loans turned into chaos. Angela and Edward rushed back from Europe exhausted, angry, and terrified. That same afternoon, Mr. Peterson delivered my gift to them, an eviction notice, because the building they thought they lived in belonged to me. Angela came pounding on my door, crying and shaking, asking why she was being evicted. Calmly, I showed her Robert's documents and told her the truth. Everything she thought belonged to her was mine, and always had been. She broke down completely, sobbing apologies, finally understanding what greed had cost her. I didn't abandon her, but I didn't excuse her actions either. I gave her 2 choices, a small apartment in another building for 6 months until she rebuilt her life, or she could leave with Edward and continue living in lies. She chose the small apartment, and Edward walked out of her life. Slowly, she began visiting me not for money, but for forgiveness. Over time, our relationship started healing. I got back my beach house, my car, all my properties, and something far more important, I regained myself. One evening, standing by the ocean at the beach house, I felt Robert's presence beside me, as if he were saying, "You did well, my love." And for the first time in months, I smiled. Not out of revenge, but out of peace, knowing I had survived betrayal, reclaimed my life, and learned that sometimes losing everything reveals who truly cares and who never did. Max froze as Lena smirked, her fingers tightening around his arm as though claiming him in front of me. But before I could speak, the door burst open and a tall woman in a white dress stormed in, her face pale, eyes full of betrayal. "Max, tell her the truth," she shouted. My heartbeat stumbled as Max's face drained of color, and Lena's smile twisted into something dark. The woman held up a marriage certificate with Max's signature. "He married me last month." She forged her name on a second one. The room spun as Lena lunged forward, screaming that she deserved this family more than anyone, and before anyone could catch her, she grabbed a suitcase stuffed with cash from under the bed. Cash from the business Max and I ran together. "You are all fools," she hissed, bolting out the door just as police sirens wailed down the street. Max collapsed beside me, shaking, whispering that Lena had manipulated him for months, isolating him, threatening him, and stealing from him piece by piece. As officers dragged Lena away in handcuffs, she kept laughing like someone truly unhinged. Max hugged me tightly, trembling. Mom,
I'm sorry.
you were always the special person. I just didn't see who she really was. And in that moment, with the chaos finally ending, I realized the real shock wasn't Lena's betrayal. It was how close she came to destroying everyone she touched.